John, look at the smile on your face. I know you've got some happy news, but look, I think we should name this show I Told You So. It's
Nah.
not like we haven't told people what's going to happen, and now it's all peeling apart. The orange segments are all showing in true glory. So it's orange being the appropriate color. I'll let you kick off the news, John, because I know you've got loads to share.
Well, it's good to see you again, mate, as always, for this
And
month.
you, yeah.
And happy early Thanksgiving to you. I think we should call this Praise Jesus, Give Him the Glory show because it really is all His. But I'm beaming because, oh man, where do we start? Let's start at the top, mate. Right at the top. Let me share the screen with you here, and I will get this. See if I can find it. Just bear with me a second here.
Sure.
Okay, let me know when you see this.
I
So
can see that. Yeah.
this letter was written a week ago. Who cares? Future proves past. It came out today on X. We want to give credit to my guy John G. Fabulous team that I always tell you about. He came through in the clutch once again. It was rumored over the weekend that Gensler was going to step down from the SEC, and as you know, they always do these things clandestine, then come out with it. Lo and behold, James Fallon reports this morning that United States SEC website, the website confirms Gensler has resigned. And here's a document that people can go to. They can see it on their own. You can do your own research. Just go on X and look up James Fillon right there on the right. I'm pointing to it. You're human. You can do this yourself. You're not children. And it has the document right here where he's talking about blah, 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 ramble, 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 spin, spin, spin. But all the things we accomplished, all the corruption we accomplished is now done. So now that this is happening, you're going to see Bitcoin's already responding today. You're going to see XRP, which we talked about, David. It was going to go over $1. When it did, the next milestone is somewhere between 10 and 30 bucks. And that's when you're going to start to see, because XRP is tied to BRICS, which is tied to the currencies, you're going to start to see everything unravel like a ball of yarn. So it's very, very exciting where we are in
Well,
this movement.
let's just talk about who he was, though, for the novice, or maybe
Sure,
some
go
of
ahead.
our newer viewers. This guy was artificially manipulating how specifically XRP was being seen and used in the planetary monetary system. So now that this corrupt clown has decided he's had enough, he's thrown the towel in. It's going to unleash all the lawsuits on all of the restrictions, specifically on XRP. But
Mhm.
this affects many of the coins, but there's too
Tons.
many to talk about, John. Let's
Yeah.
talk about that for a little bit then. So, what this
Sure.
actually for the average guy in the street?
It means that they're going to see a Super Bowl run like we've talked about for a long time. If those who've been listening on my podcast and certainly on yours respectively should know, the lion's share, if they've been paying attention, should know this very well, that we're now entering that Super Bowl cycle. What this little sniveling prick Gensler did was just delay. That's what he is. He looks like the dude from Smithers, with the little bald head,
Yeah.
the little tiny head, always like conniving his hands together. You're going to see all the, like you said, it's Bitcoin, XRP, XLM, XDC, all the way down to many of the meme coins like Shiba are going to start to really unwind. I would not be surprised to see Satoshi Kazama, the corrupt leader of that feckless organization right now, go away with Shiba, and you're going to see somebody else take over. It's been discussed. Let me just read this to you real quick, Dave. Let me just pull up in my notes. Bear with me a moment here. Let's talk about HBAR is moving up. It's another coin. Hedera board member Brian Brooks could be heading the SEC. So he's one of the candidates. It just means for the average person, they're going to be able to see a breakthrough like they've never seen before in this period from, as soon as he physically makes the announcement up front of scenes, all the way through next year, you're going to see it's part of the Jubilee.
Yeah, you know what I was thinking, John? It's quite funny if you track back through history. People first started trading. Currency was probably food and water and meat and seed grains, things like this, and then it evolved into a form of currency, which were coins, which were minted all over the world, all through ancient Mesopotamia, right up through Egypt, right up through Europe, and then it became either a gold or silver coin. Sometimes it was bronze, sometimes it was copper. But gold and silver were the ones that people valued the most, and you could use them anywhere. So if you were sailing from Greece and you were trading somewhere at the end of the Mediterranean with Spain or somewhere like that, or Portugal, you would trade in either goods or a gold or silver coin. And then that eventually got to paper money with US dollars and notes in the UK. all the countries in Europe. So it's an evolutionary step that we've got back past the notes now, because really the electronic age and high-speed banking transactions now mean it's absolutely going to evolve into something form of electronic. Now, but people need to be able to feel safe and secure. So wading through this swamp of cryptocurrencies has been very confusing, this transition for a lot of people getting it into that market. I know I felt very confused. I still am. I'm just taking advice from things that make sense to me. Now, Ripple is a good one for that because it all makes sense. They were under a court case, then they were restricted. It was about to be lifted. They kept appealing it, and then their appeals were either not validated or they'd go in a different direction. So this guy, Gary, now leaving, is a monumental milestone in the battle for this particular crypto and all cryptos to become legitimate and used on an international business aspect as well as personal purchases across borders around the world. Because let's face it now, borders these days, you can buy very easily something from Alibaba in China and then it arrives here. So there is going to have to be something. It's just a logical step. But that was one of the things that Trump was talked about recently. He says he wants to make the USA the crypto capital of the world. So having a new leader in favor of this crypto revolution to free up people's freedom and bonds and movement. So a lot of it can be done anonymously, like cross-border digital cash. It's great news, and you can see the effect of Trump getting in office straight away. The markets have been rallying,
Right.
even though the housing market's dropping, crypto, everybody's investing in it. I've been watching it closely, so the markets are showing this optimism, and it's lovely to watch. It's great fun.
Well, exactly, David. I'm going to a couple of things to back up what you're saying. As I always say, a disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor, thank God. This doesn't constitute as financial advice. We're just giving you solid facts and information for you to discern and use critical thinking, as we always say. And I'm going to say this again for the Christians watching. I know they have great concerns about crypto being the mark of the beast and all that kind of stuff. We are being given, I'm going to say this again because people do the best job of listening. They hear what they want to hear. They even comment before they've heard the video, which is, what can you do about that? Anyway, God help them. But for those who actually listen, take notes, and think critically, I've said it before, I'll say it again. We're being given a window of time in this harvest, this next 4 or 5 years, to be able to get out your rakes, get out your sickles, get all your gear, and rake in the harvest like a farmer would do. Use the new digital transition to your advantage. You're going to be buying up precious metals. You're going to be buying other currencies, taking profits along the way. Did you people listen? The right exotic bonds, with Zim, the usual with that. And yes, agro checks, we get that a million times. Listen, when we say everything will go, we mean everything will go. Not all at once, not like your gurus told you, but in sequential stages, because God knows not everybody knows about this. In fact, less than 1% know about it and actually do anything about it and pray and think about it and fast to get the word from the Lord, what they should be doing, because not everything is for everyone. But for those who prepare, you take your profits along the way. This is a special period of time that we have God giving us President Trump to open a door for this wealth transfer, to help the lonely, the poor, the hungry, the needy, and just to be basically a bondservant in all the different iterations that God is calling us. So I just want to back that up with you, Dave, real quick.
Absolutely right. I mean, if you think about what the deep state have been doing for God knows how long, really, you can only speculate how long they've been manipulating markets, keeping the poor poor and the rich get richer. That great divide. It's ever since, I've looked at all recorded history, and it's always been that way. People have never had the opportunity. One of the earliest I recorded was Akhenaten and Nefertiti, as he changed his name to Akhenaten. He started giving people the power of freedom, and one choice he gave them was to, you don't have to be slaves, and they overthrew him. They threw him out of ancient Egypt. That's 1350 BC, if my memory serves me well. So it's over 3,500 years ago. It's been going on like this. Keep the poor poor and keep them sick and weakly, just enough of them to do the work. And when they get to about 65, you can then let the serious diseases kick in, so they won't survive very long. So they're not sucking back off the government all the social security that they paid. They don't get the full value for it. I mean, there are people that live
Right.
to be in the 90s and the hundreds, but there's not many. 76 is the average age. So I'm extremely excited about this, extremely excited about Trump getting back in. He's already started on major changes. He's got Bobby Kennedy on by
Mhm.
his side. I mean, some of the stuff he's been saying, it makes me crack up laughing because 4 years ago he would have been ridiculed as being some sort of conspiracy theorist. He's talking about
Yeah.
chemtrails. He's gonna get sort those out, additives in the food, pesticides in the growth um, part of the processing of the food, standardizing the meat industry, where you can't have these large conglomerates coming in and opening an enormous slaughterhouse when you've got local farmers and butchers in that area. I mean, he's doing so much. I'm
Mhm.
just a bit concerned that someone's going to take a pop at him with a high-powered rifle.
That's why we rebuke in Jesus' name. We have the powers as believers to get in the spirit realm and get ahead of it and rebuke it so it never comes to pass, which is what I and many Christians work on every day. So we don't even need to give that any ounce of concern and energy, David. Remember, Philippians 4:6-8 says, be anxious for nothing, but in all prayer and supplication, make your prayer requests known to the Lord. And he will give you the peace that surpasses all understanding. So we don't even need to give that ground. But I'm just saying there are antidotes and solutions we can use.
I know. I follow you. I was laughing, well, smiling because you know it
Sure.
so well. It just rolls off your tongue.
Well, I practice it. I mean, there's people who know the word much better than I do, but it's a discipline, just like you with the geopolitical. I mean, the point I'm making is this is everybody says whether you're a Christian or not, this is a battle of good and evil, right?
Yeah.
Whether they know the grassroots is Ephesians 6:12, wrestle not against flesh and blood, enemy, evil rulers and authorities in the dark world, spiritual warfare. So that's where you do your battle, right? That's why it says in Ephesians 6:13, following up that passage, that you put on the good fight of faith, shoes of peace, the belt of truth, the sword of the spirit, etc. So just to allay your concerns, nothing's going to happen to him. They can try all they want, but he's going to be protected. He was divinely appointed for this time. But for the average person, this means a great opportunity for the wealth transfer.
Yeah, it's just such a big breath of fresh air. Like you can
Mm.
finally a sigh of relief can be heard from around the world, because it's all this woke rubbish is all coming to an end. It's falling apart. I mean, if you see the geopolitical map about how many states he actually won, and the only states that the opposition managed to gain a foothold on or retain were the states where there was no voter identity card. So very clearly, there's still some manipulation going on and some foul play afoot. But let's talk about some other things.
Sure.
What else was I going to bring up here? You're going to bring up something else. Oh, I know what I was going to ask you. Have you got something all laid out? Am I veering you off track?
No, you're good. I just want to back you up. One thing, you were talking about the health issues with RFK Jr. So I did have an update for you and your audience that most of my audience by now is aware of. And that's the next image here. And that is med beds. So we now
Mm.
have a good solid image of what they're going to look like. We were told by our friend, the Marine, who's a decorated Marine veteran, served in the DOD for many years, got out, yada, yada, yada. And he showed me this image and he said, this is the pretty much the most accurate image they have at Walter Reed of med beds. Now, President Trump, what he did is he took a lot of those med beds that were hanging out in the hallways and kind of collected them away from the bad guys so they couldn't get access to them, to help
Hmm.
regenerate themselves to, concoct more evil. They've done quite enough. Thank you very much. And so we're wresting that away from them. The Marine tells us that we will be going initially into military centers. And then after that, they're already in a lot of the hospitals commercially throughout the US and the lion's share of the world. I know they're in Switzerland, Germany, or probably somewhere in Spain. It wouldn't surprise me, in England, et cetera. And they're waiting for President Trump, the military, that is, to give the activation for people to then go, into an actual hospital to do it. So we don't obviously know the date we're not that high up on the food chain, but it's been suggested to us that it will be sometime after President Trump is optically in, whether that's a month or whatever, 2 months, we don't know, but it will be shortly after he's in. People will be able to get access to them, and this is what they look like. It's made 90% of silver. You can see it's antibacterial glass. It's nice and tall and wide and deep, so anybody can get in, and it keeps anti claustrophobic tendencies from happening. As a tall person, that's an issue for me. So they've thoughtfully put that into consideration. And yes, they do have separate beds for pets and horses. I get that all the time. That's a separate bed, but they do have amazing capabilities, as you know. But this is what we're told is the closest iteration of what they look like.
Yeah, very good rendition. And I haven't seen that in any sci-fi movies. It hasn't been downloaded from somewhere. Um, I like the what you said there. It's of a generous proportion to help our larger citizens climb up on the table and get treatment too.
Right. Exactly. So it's
John,
thoughtfully.
you put out a tweet or a message or an X on Telegram, whatever you want to call it, about this incident in Iran. Have you got any updates on that?
You'd be more specific. There's so much information I'm dealing with.
About well, the Iranian bombing.
Oh, yes. Yeah. On Friday, we announced that the breaking news, I think it's what you're referring to, that Israel did hit. I don't care what people say. They don't have the facts. They think they do, but they don't. Our team knows what we're doing. Thank you very much. We really don't need people to interject their opinions. Israel did hit the power plants and the missile sites. Now, all of a sudden, it's been eerily quiet. There was some word we put in over the weekend about Netanyahu is gravely ill and went to a hospital. So
Oh,
that story is unfolding. So we're waiting for more details, but that's the latest we've gotten to this point.
so, but did we have confirmation about the attack on Israel on the power plants? I mean, I saw some of these videos, but there's not. I haven't seen anything on Main Street, not even a whisper.
Well, they're not gonna tell you that right away. I mean, Chris on our channel over in Cyprus found it on his news and gave us a clip which we put on there.
Ah, right. So
It is being reported in
outside,
some places, just not in the U.S. as of yet.
yeah, I haven't seen it. Well, mind you, I'm not scanning all the news channels, but I haven't
Oh,
seen
but
any
yeah,
of the clips apart from you. I actually had about 5 people say, "Hey, did you know?" I said, "Did you get this from John?" They're saying, "Yeah."
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know you followed him.
Well, it's just like the Gensler thing. We got it behind the scenes before they announce it front of scenes. And then it's just a formality that they're going to have to announce it. You notice the fake news is begrudgingly putting out more and more truths. It just came out over the weekend that California votes are still coming in and for military and absentee votes are going Trump. So,
Oh,
they're
wow,
being,
really?
yeah, they're being forced to put this stuff out little by little. So,
Be interesting to see the final numbers, won't it?
yeah, if we can ever get them,
Yeah, 277 doesn't seem a lot that to me, considering how red it is when you look at the flag.
You're talking about the electoral votes. He got
Yeah,
312.
yeah.
312 actually is what he got.
That's 312 now. I say I haven't looked at it for a few days. I mean, that's phenomenal, isn't it?
I'll look. If there are no
What else
cheating,
have you
it'd
got?
probably be 475 if there are no cheating.
Yeah, I can't see anybody in the right minds. I mean, the vote. I can't. I mean, you would do if you're an immigrant, you're coming up from Guatemala, something you get a pass, and so all you got to do is tick this blue box. I mean, you do it. They don't know what they're doing. They're probably just concentrating on trying to find a job and keeping their families together. So I absolutely get it. I don't have any animosity towards these hardworking immigrants that they just want a new life. I've spent a lot of time in Central and South America and the violence. I had a video from a friend of mine. She said, "Look, this is my old neighborhood. They blew up a shop down the street just because they wouldn't pay them extortion money. That's in Peru. And you can't live in these places. This is why we need all this international scandal all taken care of and everybody moving into a section of peace and harmony."
Well, it's like you always say, David, your overarching comment that I always remember is people just want to live in peace, regardless of what your faith is, your politics, your race, all that stuff. That's the beauty of what Nasara Jasara is about, is it's going to allow these people to go back to their home countries, be safe and prosperous. They don't want to be here, and we don't necessarily need them to be here or want them to be here, depending your opinion on it. They come here to get a better life, but if they can get that in their home country, why wouldn't they want to do that and be with their family? It just makes sense. It's like Americans who have to go overseas to survive, that they'd rather be here. And so everybody, I think, is going to kind of get right sized in their geographical space.
Yeah, that makes sense to me too. When you really see things like this, John, if you get invited to you're in a foreign country and you get invited for dinner with people, whenever you see a family sitting down breaking bread, this is the real truth about the harmonious emotional connection with all of them. That's what we want as humans, is sit around the table with our friends, family, loved ones, and just have those moments of giving and sharing stories and pass the bread, pass the corn, pass the potatoes. These are the moments that people just want to live their lives in, like that. So these moments where they can just switch off all of the daily worries and pressure and stress from jobs and trying to pay bills. And people struggle so much just for the simplest of things, and it's not right. And you have people that will say, "Oh, I'm a climate activist," and then fly in a private jet to the conference about it. I mean, it's just sickening, the bigotry and the two-faced,
Yeah.
um, cheesy smiles behind all these guys saying, "Yeah, let's ban gasoline and fuel up the jet. We're going. Let's go to the Bahamas. Yeah, I don't care about climate change. Now it's after 5 o'clock. I've done my job."
Right. It's
What
funny.
about? I
Go
saw
ahead.
a tweet about China and Taiwan. Have you got any updates on that?
Yeah, and in fact, you probably have seen it. You're the geopolitical expert anyway, but so I'll bounce this off of you and see what you've heard. But uh, PIR Phoenix, I've talked about. We put on Telegram. Apparently, I think over the weekend there's a lot more bombing going on Ukraine. I think the Biden is trying to. They're using the Biden as a narrative. You see Trump with him in the White House.
He was
And
terrified. Little
well,
Zelensky.
he had that stupid grin on his face. They had Kennedy behind him. Did you notice that
Yeah.
the picture, the mural of JFK behind him, which is kind of a clue right there. More comms. You had a roaring fire, like things were going to be heating up. There's a lot
Yeah.
of symbolism in this stuff. So apparently, there's a lot of stuff ginned up over the weekend. Putin's saying, they're going to try to they're going to take us to the edge of an illusion of World War III, but then pull us back. Trump will make peace deals, which he's already done. But I'm saying this is all for optics. So there's been a lot of stuff kicking up over there now. We think that they're getting ready to end the Ukraine nonsense, and they're setting the narrative. And then again, for repetitiveness, Putin will go in with Xi on the Republic, not the CCP side. Very important that we reemphasize that. And inside of that, that'll be a 1 or 2 day invasion, and then we'll see Vietnam freed up. I actually interviewed a major 4-star general on my channel a couple weeks ago. We're having him back, a Major General Paul Vallely, and he said that China, Taiwan had to be dealt with this year. He also indicated that he had representatives inside of the BRICS meetings, and that's significant as it relates to the currencies and the cryptos that obviously interchange, particularly with XRP, which was back to your earlier question. So that's really significant for people to know because everything is kind of intertwined. But yeah, China, Taiwan would not surprise me if we see that in early December.
Yeah. Again, it's a significant part of this international cleanup. We need to see that done. I mean, I don't know how far it's going to go in Israel, but everybody's just turning their backs on them now. I kind of feel sorry for the Israelis that just don't want to be involved in this. Again, going back to those moments when you're breaking bread and the place is being shelled across the street, and you're thinking, you know what, there'll be a family over there just trying to do exactly what I'm doing now, but they can't because they're being shelled by the Israeli armed forces. For what? For trying to get the land that they've been living in for 5,000 years. God's chosen people. I mean, it's so controversial. I'm
Right.
not as biblically articulated as yourself, but it just can't get your head around why there's so much suffering in the world. There is always collateral damage when there is. You can't make an omelet without breaking eggs, as they say. But I just feel
Yeah,
sorry for them.
I agree. And I'm with you. I want all people because we're all God's people. No matter what. Um, I want when I say foreigners to the U.S. of course. I want everybody to be in a safe place in their country, happy, free, because it benefits everyone and it benefits America as well. And we're over encumbered with people who really should have never been here in the first place. I'm really, really happy about our new border czar, Tom Homan. He's going to be kicking some butt. He's not going to be dealing with these woke, broke, joke knuckleheads, and all these snowflakes are going to have to grow up. Or maybe they can go to another country and they'll be back on their knees in no time, thanking their lucky stars. They won't have much to complain about when they see the depravity that other countries really have had to deal with. We think as Americans, ignorantly, we know what struggles are. We don't have a clue compared to other countries, and with your vast travels.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you one strange question. A Brazilian asked me once. They said, "Mahoney, is it really true what I see on American TV shows?" I said, "Which part?" They said that they all live in houses without fences and walls around them. I said, I had to think for a second. I said, "Yeah, they do. You can just drive down a neighborhood, house, house, house. I mean, everybody knows the boundaries, but there's just a little footpath. What do you call them? A sidewalk in between them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then your little property line starts where the grass is."
Right.
Simple things like that, you'd overlook it because you're just so used to it, but they couldn't believe it. They said, listen, I've seen this on television, but I don't believe it. This is just Hollywood bullshit. I said, no, millions of Americans live like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
In
Many.
the old days, you didn't lock your doors. You didn't need to, unless you're living in a city or something. But small towns, nobody locked the doors. You knew everybody knew each other on the block. Minute you put your car hood up on a Sunday, you'd have a neighbor saying, "What's the matter? You got a flat battery? You going to serve? What are you doing? What are you doing?" Everyone's helping, cracking a beer open, and coming around. The spirit of the American people has been broken by this the last 4 years of terror.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Keeping us all living in fear, constantly worried about another virus being released. Am I sick? Am I not sick? Did I get enough boosters? What do I need to do today to go to the supermarket? What rules am I supposed to put in place? What pronouns do I call this person?
Yeah. All that nonsense.
I heard a great story from Elon Musk the other day. He was laughing at himself about this. I don't know if people have heard this or not, but he said when he first took over X, he went in there and he saw a guy just hanging around. And, he wanted to see who's doing and what, and who the efficient people and who are the inefficient, who are the little, wake ones that are just cashing a paycheck. So he goes up to this guy and he says, "Can I ask what you're doing here?" He says, "I'm waiting to get paid." So he says to him, "Well, how much do you get paid?" He says, "About $850 a week." So he came back and he cut him a check. Actually, it was about $2,000 a check and change. He said, "I've cut you a check. Here you go. Leave. Thank you for your service." And the guy was like, "Oh, thanks very much." And he took off. And then one of the staff members came over and said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Musk, you've just tipped the pizza guy $2,000."
Wow.
He was laughing. He was having a cup of coffee, laughing at himself because, guy said, "I'm waiting to get paid. I need to get paid."
That's funny. Maybe there's gold in that pizza. Who knows?
That's a funny story, about trying to. Pizza guy took off very quick out there after he got his check in his hand. But as this whole woke thing unfolds, I mean, the European Union now, there's some sort of broadcasting commissioner putting pressure on Musk saying, "You've got to censor. If you don't censor, you're going to be in trouble." And Musk gave them a big FU, told him that.
I love that, man.
Can you imagine if he buys CNN? I mean, imagine that would be a brilliant news channel. It'll just be all truth.
Did you notice they don't have a buyer for CNN and MSLSD is up for sale? There's a group already going to buy them. I mean, it's hilarious. What if Trump buys CNN? That would be pretty funny.
I don't think he needs it, but Musk is into that.
No, but
he's doing it for giggles, because nobody's watching. The figures are atrocious. I've done shows with Chaz Carter and stuff like this where we get 5-6 million views going out, and the views that we get in all our shows, all of the different truth sayers all over the place. I mean, we get higher views than the evening news, and it's just going to grow exponentially. It's going to grow as people want to know more about the truth and more
Sure.
and more and more. So I'm loving all of this new rollout. Kennedy's making me very excited because imagine the truth. Imagine waking up every day with no chemtrails in the sky. Dr. Corey Stern and myself have a chat every 2 weeks, and she says the number one thing in my surgery with my patients that are coming in is respiratory problems. And I guarantee it's from what's falling from the skies. I've seen guys going to beaches now with a magnet and picking up tiny fragments of metal that they've been, and then reconstituting it, heating it, and making things out of it. Beach ornaments and beach jewelry, because they've just magnetized all this pieces of metal everywhere. It's been falling down on us. But the toxification project that they started many, many years ago between the poison water with the fluoride, putting the pesticides in the grain food because we're all eating bread and pasta, and then hormones and steroids in the meat, and then the vegetables being poisoned. I mean, they're catching us from every direction.
Yeah.
So having somebody like Bobby going in there and saying, "All right, I know exactly what you're doing." And he did it very cleverly, John, because he said, I can't take on only you guys. I'm not making fun of him.
No, I know you're trying to impersonate. You need to bring out the old Jewish guy from Coming to America. You three putzes, you don't know nothing. You my sugar.
That was Eddie Murphy dressed up
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
Eddie Murphy. Yeah, yeah.
But he
Taste the
knows
soup.
exactly all the Bobby knows exactly where they've all been doing it. And because he's a lawyer, you say, I'm going to criminalize what you're doing, and then we're going to strip away the immunity that was signed to all of the vaccination companies. So anybody that's had a vaccine, it's not going to be making an application to the government. It's going to be a multitude of class action lawsuits, and they have billions and billions in their accounts. So that's going to strip them down a peg or two. No more advertising on TV. I mean, you probably remember, John, but I tried to watch a James Bond film. I think it was Doctor No or something, one Christmas or something in America. It took 3.5 hours to show that film with all the commercials. It was actually bombarded. I couldn't believe it. I said, is there something wrong with this television? Is this what is...
It's ridiculous. Wouldn't it be nice to like get the truth from unfiltered people like what we're doing without commercials, without, every 5 seconds, here, I want to buy your house. Oh, you don't have a house, but I want to buy it anyway. It's like they don't even know that, no more worthless, as you call them, adverts. Hey,
Yeah.
want to pay off your car loan? You're like, I've owned my car for 10 years. Like they don't even, they don't even pay attention to who they're sending stuff to. Like all that crap will be, it'd be funny, David, if they their next cabinet pick is, Christopher Walken for social awareness. Hey, you crazy people, no more of these poisons, this chemtrails you're doing. You're crazy. Get out. It's nuts, I tell you.
Then have him come around and knock at the door, the main headquarters of the CEO, and talk to him. I need to talk to you for a second.
Hey, do you have a few minutes of time for me? It'd be like a James Bond movie seemed like short, by the time he was done.
What I was always surprised about is how aggressive the advertising is. They'll say, Coca-Cola is a bunch of junk because Pepsi is amazing. They just absolutely, without shame, slag each other's products off, trash each other. But they're not allowed to do that in Europe. But I mean, they started doing it. They banned cigarettes. You can't do that. And I think a lot of alcohol commercials are now banned as well. So I think this banning of major pharmaceuticals advertising, because I tell you what, they make it so easy. And they convince people they've got something wrong with them. Do you find yourself blinking in the morning? Do you wake up sometimes with your eyes need to be refocused? Do you feel like you need a cup of coffee straight away? Then you've got blinking, rubbing your eyes coffees.
Yeah. Side effects include nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, fatal death, but no more acne.
Yeah, and the side effects. I mean, why everybody would absolutely believe in that product. Unreal. And coming from outside of the US, we see it clearer and clearer. Anyway, John, we veered off.
I know, but it's fun. We're having a good time. Bill Clinton should be the new cabinet for Health and Human Services. Do you have a red mark down there that wasn't there last week? Your old pal Bill will fix it for you.
He looks terrible, doesn't he? Now,
oh man, I don't think that's the real him.
Nah,
no.
I think that's his standing as well.
But
how are we doing on the new Minister of Finance in Iraq? How is he settling in?
You mean Tevsami, the female, the Minister of Finance? She's fine. I mean, everything's moving forward. Soudani has made a bunch of deals already with, I think a week and a half ago, he went to Turkey to meet with Erdogan to get the HCL oil and gas law done. And I think they probably did a while ago, but they got to make it look, like they just met. President Trump was stated about a week and a half ago that he wanted to have a meeting with Soudani as soon as possible, right? So they're moving because they don't want Trump to come back in, and they're still slagging. You remember the currency auctions have to end this year. They didn't say have to end at the end of the year. They said to end by the end of the year. People don't pay attention to all the details. They're already getting this in position. Remember, the prophetic word of Kim Clement that we believe in says that first the dinar, then all points Southeast Asia, which means Dong and Indonesian, Venezuela, and all the stuff people obsess about from gurus. Which they shouldn't be listening to, but whatever. So there's no way Iraq's going to let Vietnam go ahead of them. So it's good what's going on with China, Taiwan, because as that pressure, David, gins up, it puts pressure on Iraq to move quicker as well. So they're definitely moving forward.
Yeah, there's a lot to do before the end of the year. What is it, the 18th today?
We only have 5 weeks till Christmas as of this Wednesday. I would say the next 2 to 4 weeks are David, are critical. And there's been some rumors about oh, the dinar revalued or the dong's gone to 40 cents. We can't confirm that, so we don't post it. Maybe it's possible in country in their country they're making moves, but it hasn't hit the Forex. We checked the Citibank wires; it hasn't hit yet. So people just need to relax with that stuff. The point is, you're seeing cracks in the dam breaking, and that's the key. Let me show you something real quick, just to polish off this discussion nicely.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you a quick PowerPoint screenshot here. Let me know when you can see it. So there's a number of things that have happened that needed to happen, right? Gold needed to hit 2,000, 2,500. Last December, it hit 2,000. September 16th, it hit 2,500. I haven't checked it today, but we know it's going to go to 3,000 by the end of this year, no problem, especially as all these things circumvent or transact with Gensler and everything else, the cracks bill, because as we know, gold is tied to a lot of these assets, right? All of these currencies and cryptos. Again, having gold, this I say for the average layperson, which you bring up, having gold at 2,500 per ounce hurts the Western banks and helps the BRICS dismantle the dollar. So it creates a twofold effect. We told you a long time ago, David, be my witness. Did I not tell you often on camera we needed to see silver hit that $30 mark? It did that on October 12th. It's gone as high as, I think, 36. So getting silver shorts the banks, almost $1 billion in their balance sheets. Notice the central banks, David, talk a lot about buying gold, but they don't talk about buying silver. Why? We know they are, but they don't want us as the lay people to know about it because of what I just said. We see Iraq and the 4 prime ministers. This is the nothing, 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 something. We had Maliki back in 2010, who was an Obama holdover. Bad guy, but if he doesn't do what he did, we're not here to talk about this, and nobody's getting blessed because this would have gone off anywhere from 12 to 14 years ago, right? They brought in Abadi, who, by the way, is working with Soudani behind the scenes because he vowed to give his life up to make this happen. He feels bad that he reneged on his promises, so he's still working with the people in the green zone. We got word from the Marine back on July of 2019 that Trump said off the record, I get the right guy in there, I can do this inside of a month, meaning the dinar. Abadi is still working, as I said, with Soudani in the green zone with the people to engender trust and solidarity of bringing the oil credits back, to bringing the dinar at a true value, to getting the corruption out of government. Sound like us by chance in the U.S. or
exactly?
Like absolutely.
The whole shows I told you so.
Yeah. Benny Wilson prophesied a Mexican man who would look like the prime minister of Iraq that would make the revaluation happen. We're seeing that now. Israel attacking Iran, we talked about it. They started in April 15th. They were trying to hit the perimeters and the soft spaces of the defense areas with drone strikes in Iran to see where their vulnerability points are. And now you have what you have to present day. Fed cut the interest rates. We said it was going to be 50 basis points. A lot of people said it would be 25, but our team got it right. I'm saying the team, not myself. October 18th, November 7th, as you saw, they just cut it another quarter basis point. They're going to cut it again December 5th or thereabouts, another quarter basis point. So you have a complete 1 basis point movement in a quarter, which will really notice it's really killing the bond market and it's really hurting the dollar for hyperinflation. But if you're in our different investments, you're not concerned about it because you've made moves right ahead of time. Now, let me show you one other quick slide, David, real quick for posterity. These are the things now that we see that need to happen, right? So we're looking for gold to hit 3,000, as we said. We believe that'll be by the end of by the end of this year, and we should see silver probably somewhere in the $45, $50 range by the end of the year as well, which would not be very hard for them to do once some of the constraints are lifted. You asked about China, Taiwan. We talked about that. We're seeing things gin up with Ukraine, to your point, and we see that creating a short 1 to 2 day invasion of China, Taiwan, which will free up Vietnam enough, not completely, out of communism to free up the dong, okay, and silver and many other things that they have in the ground.
Yeah.
So our rollout, if President Trump should be waiting till January 2nd, and there's discussion that he might be brought in preemptively. We had Lloyd Brunson on our podcast last week. I asked him point blank, is he under an NDA? He said, no, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you. I said, fair enough. I said, could they have your case in the Supreme Court as a shadow case to bring it out, to bring Trump in preemptively as a means of thwarting, as you said, David, potential attacks against said president? He said, it's a very strong possibility. So they could do it and I wouldn't even know about it. And I would be a bystander like the rest of you, right? So we'll watch to see. But if he does come back on the 20th, roughly 120 days after that, would, after he's sworn in, would be the Jubilee. He's now told you, David, many times, right? May 30th of next year, all the way to July, after the 4th of July, 2026, we're going to have an over year-long Jubilee celebration. So that's worst case scenario. It could happen much sooner because he's also said, I don't know if we can wait 5 months. So he's giving you he does that back and forth hints, right? We're looking for a 10% bond yield drop next year in the market. That'll accelerate the dollar decline and really hasten the BRICS currencies that are all in them, the dinar, dong, zim, rupee, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. We just talked about Gensler. Now that Gensler has as a week ago, put that letter up that we talked about that I showed you, all we have to do now is see him optically announce it. And you're going to see all the cryptos unwind. You're going to see XRP is now over $1. I think it's $1.15 as last I checked this morning. The next move will be somewhere between $10 and $30. And you're really going to see the cryptos and all the different meme tokens. And you're also going to see the currencies really start to come in because, as I said, they are backed by precious metals, and XRP will facilitate the transactions in the new digital ledger technology under ISO 20022 mBridge management.
Oh, nice presentation. I didn't know you had that. You put all that together. And you can see it all. If you track the price of gold, how it's been climbing like that, silver's the same, all of these points. I'll be surprised if it's a short event in Taiwan. I think that might go on a bit longer, unless they absolutely just throw the towel in. But
they might be a two-part thing. They might do a short little one, and then Trump comes and makes a peace deal, right? And then they might do that years later, because, for example, in Iraq, back to that, they have a budget for 3 years, 24 to 26. Why? Because Iran's going to come back in and reinvade their big brother in 2027. So they'll get a short 3-year reprieve before they have to deal with their big brother again. So there could be these little treaties
bumps along the way.
Huh?
Bumps along the way. I get it, John.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you'd like to cover? I think we've covered a lot tonight.
I think we covered the basics, what we needed to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm watching. I think I can safely say this on behalf of a lot of people. Everyone's watching very carefully what's going on. Trump is daily putting out more and more speeches about what he's going to do. If I was a large paying subscription holder to the Cabal Club, I would be very worried right now. And I'd say Gary has already left the country because he's probably long gone. I've noticed a few stars have been leaving. J-Lo's in Italy. Don't know where De Niro's going. I sent him a personal message on his account asking him or telling him Uganda is very nice this time of year if you want to go there.
Club Gitmo's even better.
There's a nice hotel in Cuba it's waiting for you.
That's a one-way stop, like roaches. They check in, but they don't check out. Did you see that Scott Baio did a short this morning? He started reading off the Diddy list.
Yeah.
And it's what you thought it was, and even worse.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'll touch on that, but if it gets a bit too heavy for me, I'm not good with stuff like that. It makes me makes my temper rise. I also listened to one of the phone calls he was doing. You got to get rid of those pizza boxes, those pizzas. Get rid of the old pizzas. You don't ring up somebody from prison doing that. Everybody knows what you're better off just saying it out loud because calls recorded. It's obvious what he's talking about. But John, it's been a great show. I think we'll wind it down, unless there's anything you want to bring up.
No, just tell the wonderful people where they can find your work and last thoughts you have, sir.
Yeah, you can find me at Mahoney.tv. We've always got 2 to 4 shows going out a week. You can find lots of little clips and the real Mahoney on Telegram as well. You'll find me there. I'll send John some links. So if you want to watch and have a look at my sarcastic sense of humor, poking fun at everybody, including myself, you'll be able to follow me there. And we'll see you again in December, John. No, we've already got it.
Yeah, we put a date in December before the holidays. I think it's the second week of December.
Imagine what's going to be like in a month.
Oh, my goodness.
Things are moving so fast now, so fast.
Well, absolutely. And I just want to say, folks, keep your wicks lit or powder dry, whichever phraseology you like. David, I want to thank you for all of your great information and service over the years and your friendship that's been burgeoning. I know our audience, and I certainly appreciate it. And if you are looking for some of those currencies, dinar, dong, zim, bonds, rupiah, yes, bolivar, and agro checks, all of the aforementioned items, we'll leave that link in the description. Also, precious metals, if you have them or you're trying to add to them, just telling you our humble opinion, now's the time, because like you, David, just said, a lot of volatility in a good way now happening with the dam proverbially breaking free. We know for Chris on our channel, for the currencies, he tells me that you can back this up, David. I don't know, but I guess he was telling me after December 9th in Europe, the post office really slows down over there. Is that right?
Not really. I mean, they've got a lot of Chris. I would have thought it would have been a little bit the other way, he's speeding up. But do
Okay.
people really still send so much by mail? I think Amazon took all the post office, so he might be right. Actually, could be an interesting point. That.
Well, I don't know. I just figured I would ask. You're closer to than I am. But the point is, if I've said it before on Nick's show last week, if you folks are thinking about getting currencies or precious metals or adding to what you have, if you can, do it now, because between the events happening and the holidays coming, everything is going to come to a standstill and a movement at the same time. So we'll leave all those links in the description. Good to see you, brother. Appreciate it, and look forward to catching up with you again next month.
I was showing this to John. I went to see a friend of mine. He said to me, Mahoney, do you want to buy some silver? I said, I didn't know you had it. So I bought 2.5 kilo bars of silver. I thought, the Lord really, truly does work in mysterious ways. I was asking John,
Oh, yeah.
send me the link. I want to I like to have it in my hand. And now I've got 2 bars. My friend was like, yeah, I need a bit of money right now. Do you want to buy this? I was like, yeah. So we have them as well. We're not just talking about it. We have these items too. John, you're a star, mate. Keep me, please.
Same to you, brother.
With all the messages and texts as you send every day.
Oh,
every
yeah.
morning I wake up, it's the first thing I do saying, right, what's happened while I've been asleep?
Well, we want God's people to cross the finish line and win together. That's all we care about. The ego goes out the window. It's not about
Absolutely. Put your hands out and accept to help your friends and neighbors as they find their path on the journey too. You might be strong in many ways and they need your help, folks. So remember that. John, with much love, God bless. We'll see you very soon. Thank you, folks. It's always a pleasure being here. And I always enjoy the intel we share, John. So keep doing what you're doing. You're a star.
Thank you, sir.
Cheers, buddy. Bye-bye.